Ever scroll through your phone and an hour just vanishes?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you only meant to check one notification, but then you just get sucked into this like vortex of bad news and negativity.
Okay.
And it's doom scrolling.
Yep.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Sounds good.
We're going to like unpack why it's so hard to look away from doom scrolling, how it messes with our minds. And like most importantly, we're going to give you the tools to actually break free.
Okay.
So,
Well, it's really interesting because doom scrolling, it's not like a new thing, you know?
right.
It's really tied to how our brains are wired, like
Yeah.
from way back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so like, did you know that there are studies that show that negative news actually travels faster in our brains than good news?
Wow.
Yeah, and it's this thing called negativity bias.
Okay.
And it's like a leftover survival mechanism.
Oh,
It
interesting.
makes us super sensitive to threats, even if they're just like on a screen.
So we're like programmed to just like zero in on all the bad stuff?
Pretty much.
Well, that makes sense why it's like so hard to resist clicking on those like super dramatic headlines, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And then you add in like the never-ending stream of information from social media and news sites.
Right.
It's like they're all fighting for our attention.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get like stuck in that cycle.
Yeah.
And it's not just the negativity bias either.
Okay.
It's also that feeling like we'll miss out if we're not like constantly plugged in.
Yeah, the FOMO.
The FOMO, exactly.
It's just this pressure to always be in the loop, even if it makes you feel like super stressed. Yeah. You know, I've definitely felt that after doom scrolling. You just feel like kind of apathetic about your own life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's the point, you know, when the world is like falling apart?
Yeah.
Is that like a common reaction?
Oh, it's more common than you think.
Really?
News scrolling can really like fuel feelings of helplessness.
Right.
Like you're being bombarded with all this bad news.
Right.
And usually without any context or solutions. Right. So you end up feeling overwhelmed and powerless.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's not just feeling down either.
Yo.
Studies have shown that if you doom scroll for a long time, it can lead to more anxiety, bad sleep, and even like trouble concentrating.
Oh, wow. So it's like affecting us in all these ways.
Definitely.
So, okay, we know that doom scrolling is not good for us,
Right.
but how do we actually stop?
Right.
It's like it's become so automatic at this point.
It really has.
Yeah.
Well, the first step is just being more aware of how you're using your tech.
Okay.
Setting some boundaries can be a game changer.
Okay, so what does that look like?
Well, it could be anything from setting like time limits for certain apps to having no phone zones in your house.
Right.
Like the bedroom or the dinner table.
Yeah.
You could even like schedule digital detox periods where you go totally offline for a bit.
Oh, that's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
I've also heard that turning off those notifications is a big help.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
It's like they're designed to like grab your attention
Absolutely.
and pull you back into, you know, to that like black hole of scrolling.
Yeah, it's like out of sight, out of mind.
Right, exactly.
But it's not just about the time we're spending online.
Okay.
It's also what we're actually looking at.
Right.
So take a look at your news feeds and your social media accounts. Are there certain accounts or sources that make you feel negative?
Yeah.
Like maybe you feel angry or just down after you see their stuff.
So it's like curating what you're letting into your mind, right?
Exactly.
Like what you're feeding your mind.
You choose what information you let in.
Right.
So unfollow those accounts that bring you down and look for sources that are positive.
Yeah, look for things that uplift you instead.
Exactly. And when you do feel that urge to doom scroll, try some mindfulness practices.
Okay.
Even just pausing and noticing how you feel when you grab your phone, that can be really helpful.
Yeah, it's like hitting the pause button on autopilot.
Yeah.
And maybe even taking a few deep breaths and asking yourself, what do I really need right now? It's crazy how often it's not actually more bad news. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
There's this mindfulness technique called 5 senses grounding that can be really helpful. It's all about focusing on what you can see, hear, touch, smell, and taste.
Oh, okay.
It helps you get out of your head and calms the anxiety.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
So to recap, we doom scroll because of how our brains are wired and because we're afraid of missing out.
Yeah.
And it makes us feel anxious, powerless, and overwhelmed. And to break free, we need to set boundaries with our tech,
Yeah.
be mindful of what we're consuming online,
Yes.
and practice mindfulness.
Exactly.
It's a lot, but it sounds like even small changes can make a big difference.
Absolutely. Breaking the doom scrolling cycle is not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about making choices that are good for you. Some days will be better than others.
Yeah.
The important thing is to keep practicing.
Yeah. And be kind to yourself.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, think about one small change you can make today to reclaim your time and energy. Could be deleting one social media app, setting a 30-minute phone-free time block, or just noticing those urges to doom scroll when they come up.
Good ideas.
Every step counts. Until next time, stay curious. And remember, you have the power to choose how you spend your time and energy.
That's right.
Bye.
Bye.